One of the great things, I'm just talking to the camera here, but one of the great things is when somebody like yourself shows up to my gallery with something I find very interesting. And it's Albert Schmidt, who is a very famous painter who, dies in 1957, and he's born in what year was he born? 18...
Well, it sort of went back and forth. We decided 1885.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So I knew Albert's work. I had a major Albert Schmidt painting of my own that was in the Gallup Bar, actually.
Ah.
And it was there for like 50 years, and I got it from the people that had that bar a long time ago. And then you show up, and you're his granddaughter, Karen Schmidt, and you've got this super interesting story. And luckily for us, you're going to allow us to handle a lot of his work, and that's the kind of the story I wanted to hear about, is how do you get the work? So maybe you could just tell a little story about your background and how this all occurred. Obviously, he's your grandfather, but how you ended up with the paintings and to right now.
Well, I was in Chicago working, and my grandmother died, and she had left the house and everything in it to me. So I promptly left Chicago.
And this is not just any house, by the way.
No, and moved to the house.
Right? You
Right.
want to tell them what the house, who made the house?
Well, it was a William Pennhallow Henderson.
Right, the great furniture maker.
Yes.
And artist.
And who apparently was the architect
of the house, too.
Of the house. So I moved there, and my mother was living in Michigan, and since she grew up and was born in Albuquerque and spent her summers as a teenager up in Santa Fe, we decided we'd move into the house. It was big enough for two of us.
Yeah, and this was 1988 or so.
We moved in 1989, happened to be Earth Day.
Yeah.
That we got on the plane and
That's
came
funny.
out here and moved into the house, which the house was in pretty good shape, but it still needed some work. But anyway, so here we are in Santa Fe. So now I have to deal with everything regarding my grandmother's death, the estate,
right.
and what have you. And the lawyer said to me, you should do something with the artwork of your grandfather's. And I only knew the paintings that were on the wall.
In the house.
In the house. So I did not know that in the garage, which is a separate garage, big, beautiful stone building,
right.
There was a room at the end where somebody could have lived. It was one room, but it had bathroom and everything. And all these paintings were in there. They had originally been in the studio, which my grandmother rented out, which was on the property. Mm-hmm. So they had been moved down there, all stuffed in, and thank God for basically dry weather. Not a lot of
really, actually, too.
Not humidity like you get out east. And there all the paintings were.
Yeah.
So I decided.
What did you think when you see all those? Hundreds of paintings. He's a valuable artist. He's a good artist.
Yeah.
That's like winning a lottery in a weird way.
You're right. So I thought, well, okay, what am I going to do? So I talked to Jean Seth, who had a gallery.
Yep.
And she said, I'd like to have my daughter handle this, but you really need Gerald Peters.
Yeah.
To handle this work, because my grandmother had locked everything up and nobody had seen it for 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I went around to a couple galleries.
So you found this collection of paintings. It's important. You go to Seth, the gallerist. She says, maybe Gerald Peters, but you say, let me look and take it to a few more galleries. And then that was a mistake?
In terms that it really annoyed all, or pissed off, shall I say, every gallery owner.
Oh, I bet.
So I just decided, okay, I go
because they all wanted it, and you're going, I've got it, but I'm going to work with Jerry? Or
no, I took Jean's advice and went with Jerry.
Yeah, well, he was the biggest gallery pretty much at that time. There's the top ones would have been Nat Owings or Zeppelin Lampert probably.
No, I talked to them.
Yeah. I don't think you came in to talk to me. I wasn't big enough. I was there. Well, let's see. Maybe I wasn't there. Was this? No, I wouldn't have been. This was 89, right?
This was
or 90-ish.
Around there. It took a long time to settle the estate.
Yes.
So I couldn't sign anything with Jerry until 92.
Yeah, that's about. I got there in 96, I think. So 94, 96. Yeah. So you finally settled the estate, and then, then you were able to take a portion. Now, this is kind of sounds like his life's work to some extent,
yes.
Right?
And as I was told, you don't find many estates that have so much work.
Yeah, no.
But that was due to my grandmother.
Because she had money.
So she just locked it up.
Oh, but somebody had to have money in the sense that he didn't have to sell paintings.
Right.
He could paint them and leave them, right?
Right. Well, she did up to a point, and then things
changed. Yeah.
So anyway, I think it was November 3rd of 93. We had the opening show. They had police everywhere because there were so many people, cars coming in.
Right.
So it was very successful opening.
Yeah, I bet. I remember. I don't think I went to the opening. I don't remember that, but I remember going and seeing the collection and being, and again, this is just part of the collection. It's not everything. The things you're bringing me today are a whole different group of things. A lot of the Arizona pieces as well. Jerry, I'm sure, was more interested in the New Mexico pieces, and so I get the bounties of Arizona and California, Southern California, which he lived in both places, right? I mean, he lived in San Diego at like 1915 to 17.
Well, I know he was in an exhibit because I found something about what was the exhibit that they had in.
They had the Pan Pacific.
That's it.
Yeah, it was in.
He was in that.
Yeah, that was in 15 and 16, I think.
I think he was in 15.
Yeah.
So then I never heard the story as to why they came back or why they went to each place. But anyway, so here I am with the paintings, and we decided with Jerry. It was very successful opening, and then we just continued for about 28 years.
Yeah. And then yet you still have this wonderful collection because it's his life's work.
Right.
And then I get the bounties because Jerry's worked through a lot of the ones that are New Mexico pieces that are his bread and butter, and he's moved to a little more modern sensibilities, I think, to some extent. Even though I think Schmidt is a very modern painter. I mean, some of the things he has is very, to me, Bitten kind of Bitten look to it, the way his figures are and his buildings. And so a lot of the things you brought me to are like San Diego in 1915. Where there was nothing, Point Loma and different things like that, just a few houses, few buildings.
Well, that's why I think nobody recognized it, certainly not at the gallery.
Yeah.
Because it didn't look like that anymore.
Right.
But this is what it used to look like.
Right, exactly. So for me, it's like I'm getting to find the new hidden treasure.
Right.
You found it when you first went out and said, oh my God, what do I have? This is worth as much or more than the house. And now I get to have that same kind of, inspiration. And so you were telling me you met your grandfather. Well, you were in Taos when you were just a little baby.
Tesuque.
I mean, in Tesuque, sorry.
Yeah.
In Tesuque when you were a little baby. But you also met him maybe a little on occasion when you were a little older. You were about 13 when he passed. Something like that, yeah. And what did your mom have to say? What kind of person? Do you know what kind of the family lore was about Albert Schmidt? Happy guy?
Well, this was my father's side.
Yeah, your father's.
Nobody talked a whole lot about anything back in those days.
Right. And your dad was in World War II.
Yes.
Right. That's why you were at Tesuque. You went up there and stayed with your grandmother at that time,
and her in-laws.
Yeah.
While he was in the war.
Yeah, and that always changes you too, I think, when you go through something like that. And he went to Japan after the bombings to trying to record and to relate what had happened with that, right?
Right, and when he came back, apparently we left, but my mother said it took 6 months for me to get used to my father because I thought my grandfather was my father. Because that was
because you were saying the painter Albert Schmidt was acting. He was the stand-in.
He was there every day.
Yeah, that would make sense. He was painting the exact paintings, some of them that I have now in my gallery. Some of them probably were painted while you were a child in that house. And did your father ever talk about what he saw in Japan? I mean, that was a pretty traumatic thing. I don't know if he saw Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Nobody talked about the war in those days.
Yeah, they didn't want to think about it, probably.
They probably just wanted to
move on.
Yes.
And grief and all the things that go on.
So nothing was ever said.
Yeah.
And of course, I never thought about it.
Yes.
Being young and then a teenager, and then my senior year in college, he died. So then, when you have a chance to reflect later on,
right,
the persons aren't there.
Yeah, right. But the house still is.
The house still is there.
Yeah, so this masterpiece.
It's on the state and federal historic register.
I bet it should be. Did he leave any of the furniture? Henderson furniture, was any of that still? I don't even know if it was when he built
what's
it.
So nice are the carved, what would you call it?
Corbels
to cover up the radiators.
Oh yeah, that's what they call them, radiator covers.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Yeah, I've seen some of those before.
Yeah, so that's in, let's see, the dining room, the living room, the entrance.
Yes.
And then back there, the other 2 bedrooms that way and the bedroom that way, they're just radiators without the covers.
And when was that? Was that house built in the
20s?
Yeah, 22 or something. Yeah, interesting. So what's it like to live with history?
It's nice. I like it.
I would think. I mean,
it's really nice.
And you must get people that sometimes come that are Henderson devotees and just that knock on your door even maybe and go, can I look?
I did not have to put up a plaque.
Yes, that's good.
So the answer is no, I don't want people just
correct. Hear that?
Showing up.
No, people do not show up. Go to the internet, there's probably photos.
Yeah. Well, you just never know.
No, I
especially
get it.
in this day and age.
Yeah, no.
So, no.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to tell me about your grandfather or the collection?
No, I just always have really liked his work, and I'm glad that finally, I guess I'm lucky that I was the one who got to promote it and benefit from it.
Yes, as we will too, which is pretty remarkable. So thank you, Karen, for taking the time. It's exciting to have a collection by somebody I've always loved their work. I actually think Albert Schmidt has been very unrecognized, and part of that may have been because there were so many of them were just kept in a studio. He sold art, obviously. I bought a major painting that he had sold in the 40s, I think, maybe even earlier, 35 or 40. But, sometimes it takes this recognition and people to get to see these works that they really haven't seen because they don't come to auction very often. They haven't really been out there that much other than, Jerry's had some, but when you sell, and he did I think at least one catalog or so, 2 catalogs in his work. So, but he's clearly gifted as a painter, and I love his color sense. So, it's going to be a fun thing for me.
Oh, one thing, there was this Art and Embassies program.
Mm-hmm, yes.
And his work was borrowed and shown in 3 of embassies. One was the one in Prague.
Yeah, that's cool.
Bern, Switzerland. And then the ambassador to the Holy See.
Mm.
So there were 4 paintings there. The one in Bern, the ambassador, I think there were 4 and he bought 2.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there may even be images of him. A lot of times on those embassy, because we've loaned pieces to embassies all over the country, all over the world, they'll actually do catalogs on those pieces that are in the house, because a lot of times they're loaned, sometimes they're bought, like this guy may have bought things too, but, so there actually may be even images somewhere out there of when that when that ambassador, because when an ambassador comes, they go, "This is what I like. This is what I want to put in the house," and so they put what they like.
So that was really a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Got to visit 3.
Did you get to go visit them? Did you go see them?
Oh, yeah. We were invited to talk to the ambassador's wife for the Holy See, and she said, "Would you like to come for sort of drinks or lunch?" I said, "We'll come for lunch." I had 3 friends with me. And then they invited us to a party.
Yeah.
So there's half the Catholic Church, half the Sixth Fleet, I think, and the 4 of us. And the only person that would speak to us was the head of the Sixth Fleet. He came over and talked to us.
That's cool.
But that was fun.
Do you ever get, it may or may not happen because people may not know you're his granddaughter, but do people get excited when, especially if they're Schmidt fans, Albert Schmidt fans, and they come up and go, "Oh my God, you're his granddaughter"? Do you get that sometimes?
Occasionally.
Yeah, they probably just don't know who you are.
Right.
If you had that on there, they would know. Or you just take one of his iconic images of the walking guy down the road and had a T-shirt
yes.
made. They would definitely, I would go, "Oh, that's Albert Schmidt. I know exactly who that is. Why are you wearing that?" And you'd say,
I should have.
"Yeah, you still can."
But I don't know. I don't know where the painting is.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of the one I had.
Okay.
And you can make a copy of that one. It's equally as brilliant as that one, as a matter of fact.
Well, that was a fun one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was really great.
I just like the rolling hills the way the guy's drunk and the.
Yeah. Now I had the mate. It was over my bed for many years in my house, and one of my clients got into my house and got it out of there, and he still loves it, which is fantastic. So. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for letting us handle this brilliant collection. And, next time I get up to your neck of the woods, I might
come visit. Did you ever see the one, the Native American? There was the Phasian up to about here. He did one that was really.
Yeah, it doesn't. Really he could probably do anything he wanted to, but I don't think I saw that one. Yeah, when I think of his work, I often think of these landscapes of
churches.
And
the churches,
exactly.
Those sold immediately.
They do. The landscape, also just that imagery of New Mexico.
Yes.
But there's so much more that hasn't been seen, which we're going to show.
I'm so glad you're going to do it. Thank you.
I'm happy to.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Karen Schmidt, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. That's great.